Dorothy is a lifelong Everett resident, as I said. She's the graduate of Everett High School and Malden School of Business. She was accredited in sign language by Boston University. Dorothy is also the mother of two sons, Walter Jr. and Jonathan, and the grandmother of Christopher, Andre, Devin, and mother-in-law of April. She was a 30-year employee of H&R Block and retired as district manager. Dorothy's expertise was recognized and resulted in her appointment as a liaison to the Massachusetts Department of Revenue. Dorothy is a longstanding member of Emmanuel Baptist Church, where she volunteers as a Sunday school teacher and is a member of the Finance Board, Building Council, and Food Pantry. She was appointed by Everett School Superintendent Frederick Forrester as a member of the Devon School Education Program Board of Directors, where she supports their mission to provide opportunities for students with disabilities to achieve success in a community-based school setting. Dorothy has been a 9-year volunteer after-school tutor at Housing Families, Inc. of Malden. Mayor Carlo DiMaria appointed her to the Mystic Valley Elder Services Board of Directors representing Everett. She is a member of Malden's YMCA and a past member of the Board of Directors of Malden's YWCA. Dorothy was an original member of the North Shore Black Women's Association, which is why I brought her up here tonight, because in January she was honored at their annual Martin Luther King Day breakfast for all her great work in the community. In 2009, she was elected commissioner to the 9-member volunteer Everett Charter Commission, which successfully rewrote, updated, and modernized the city's constitution. And also in 1985, Dorothy was elected to the Everett School Committee and served 4 years. And she also has been appointed as an election warden by Everett City Clerk Michael Matarazzo. As you can see, she's been a community activist her entire life, and we're all very, very lucky to have her as an Everett resident. So I'm going to read her citation. Be it here known to all, the City Council, in his honor the Mayor, hereby offer the sincerest congratulations to Dorothy Martin Long in recognition of your being honored by the North Shore Black Women's Association for spirit and volunteerism as a community activist for all the work you do in the community. The entire city government extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued good fortune. Offered this, written in the past 8th day of February 2016.
Thank you. Just a short talk. I just want to say thank you to Anthony for inviting me here for this honor. It's a pleasure to serve in the city of Everett. I've been here all my life, and that's what Everett people do. We reach out, we help other people, and that's my, and if we could all do that, it would be great, because volunteering is really important. And if anybody wants to know about where to volunteer, how to volunteer, just contact me. I can put you in the right direction. Thank you again, everybody. Thank you, board.
Is there anybody in the audience that would like to come up close and get a picture of Anthony handing her the citation? Please come forward now.
Hey. Good. Okay. Where am I going to be? Right. Congratulations. Thank you, honey. How you doing? How's the sister mom doing? Stand in the middle. Get behind.
I'm messing. John, where's John gonna be?
Get way back.
Andre. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Where am I supposed to be?
How's that? Hmm? Oh, you wanna come close? Go, take her down.
funny, huh?
And I'd like to call now Councilor McKinnon, also for the purpose of a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. President. This presentation, I'd like to actually have the opioid committee people as well as Councilman Capone up with me. Councilman Mangan, Councilman McLaughlin. This person also has given a lot back to the city. Excuse my voice, I have a cold, but she has given a tremendous amount back to the city by actually going out, helping on a daily basis, and bringing the community closer to actually helping fight opioid addiction and heroin addiction. Her name is Patty Ann Scalise, and I'd like to introduce her at the end of this because I was just in a meeting with her, and it's a very, very, very hard topic for some people to talk about, but I think that we're going to bring so much information now to the forefront that we may do some good here and actually try to battle this back. Everett was named number one in communities of this disease, and I think by having more stigma off it and more talk about it, we can do a lot better within this city. So with more people like her and the program Everett Overcoming Addiction that she's created, I think that we can actually have some satisfactory play in this coming out to saving people. And there's generations that are involved where right now we've had Narcan, we've had training sessions for that. We've also had, now we're introducing this, and we're going to try to introduce this at classroom level. So those talks are all being done right now. So I hope to God that we can get that accomplished so we can save generations to come. But I know I'm going to yield now, and I know that my colleagues in back of me have a few things to say about Mrs. Scalise as well. Fred?
Thank you, Councilor McKinnon. We all know Patty's a wonderful person, and she gives of herself fully, and everything she does is sincere and from the bottom of her heart. And I know that she has been very committed to this topic for many years, and it's been an uphill fight many years. But I want Patty to know and everyone to know that all the traction that's happening now and all the good things that are going to come and all the positive is because of all of your hard work through the years. And thank you, and we're very fortunate to have that.
I'll echo the sentiments of both Councilors McKinnon and Capone. I first met Patty. It was during a difficult time in her life, and we shared a lot of the same experiences. And I just want to thank you for all the work that you're doing, and we're going to do what we can to help you.
I was fortunate enough to meet Patty just a couple of years ago, and she's become a good friend. And like I said, as Council McKinnon said, she's done so much for this community, and she will continue to do so much. And as you know, we have an opioid committee now here that us 4 of the members of. And Patty was at the first meeting, and I know she's going to be continue to be very active with that committee. And I look forward to working with you, Patty, and you know, like I said, and helping us, you know, help the people in the city of Everett. So thank you for everything you do.
I would also like to thank Patty for both personal level and professional level. I know her on both of those. Patty is a dear friend of my brother and my sister-in-law, and a role model to my nephew who's in the Maddie English School. And I want to thank her for what she does for every child in the city of Everett every single day. She's a leader in our community. I look forward to working with her and my colleagues that are standing behind me tonight to make sure that we can do all we can in the city of Everett to turn those numbers around. Those numbers are horrifying that we see out there, that we see almost every single day. I heard another story today of a dear friend of mine, 32 years old, that passed away. It cannot continue. It needs to end. It needs to end tonight. And I can't wait to get to work with my colleagues and you, Patty, on trying to make sure those numbers are turned around in a very short amount of time. And I'll do all I can to be a support to you and to the organization. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for those words. Patty, could you come up, please? This citation, be it hereby known to all the Everett City Council and His Honor the Mayor, hereby offer this sincerest congratulations to Patty Ann Scalise in recognition of your overcoming addiction and being founder of the Everett Overcoming Addiction Program. The entire city government extends its very best wishes on this memorial occasion and expresses the hope for continued good fortune. Given this day, 22nd of February. Thank you. Just say a couple words.
I just like to thank my family. They've been amazing through all this, and I cannot wait to work with you guys and really get the boots on the ground and start doing some real work. Let's help the community. Let's help the kids. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. If anybody would like to come up and have a couple pictures taken, do that now.
Hold on, all set? Patty, would you come up? And the rest of the group, please come up.
It's all warm now.
Clerk will call the roll.
Counsel Capone. Counsel Della Sola.
Here.
Counsel DeFlorio. Counsel DePiero.
Here.
Counsel Mangan.
Here.
Counsel Matusky.
Here.
Counsel McKinnon.
Here.
Counsel McLaughlin. Counsel Napolitano.
Here.
Counsel Simonelli.
Here.
Counsel Hanlon.
Here.
Counsel Capone. 11 members present, Mr. President.
Would the audience please stand and join the council in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk will read the first item on the agenda.
First item on the agenda is public participation, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President.
Motion made and seconded, open public participation. All in favor signify by saying aye. All the ayes have it. Is there anyone present that would like to present any business before the city council? Anything at all? Anything at all? Apparent there is nothing. Motion made and seconded, close public participation. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it.
Chairman, can I make a motion to take items number 1 through 18 collectively, refer them back to the mayor?
One is not included. Let's do number one first.
I apologize.
Clerk will read item one.
Item number 1 is an order sponsored by Counsel John F. Handler as president, authorize the chief procurement officer to accept and dispose of school department vehicle 1988 GMC rack body truck, VIN number and plate with engine problems. Lift isn't working with starter issues, an estimated value of $100.
Second motion.
Motion for favorable in action, seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Counsel Capone.
Yes.
Counsel Della Sola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel DePiero.
Yes.
Counsel Mangan.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky.
Yes.
Counsel McKinnon.
Yes.
Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
11 yeas, 0 nays. You have passed the order. Councilman McLaughlin?
I apologize. Now can I make a motion to take items number 2 through 17 collectively and refer back to the mayor's office, please?
On the motion, Mr. President.
Second, motion made and second, refer back to the sponsor, to the mayor, rather. Council Matusky.
Thank you, Mr. President. There is one person being appointed tonight to the Council of Aging that made the effort to actually appear. And I'd like to acknowledge her.
Yes.
She will be appointed. Just to let you know, Ms. Green, this is being delayed to the next meeting, Mr. President.
Yes.
It's nice to see you here, Verna Green. Mr. President, she's been appointed by the last 3 mayors, and I think that says something about the quality of person she is.
Thank you.
I just wanted to mention that. Thank you for being here this evening, miss.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a sign-in sheet.
No, on the motion, we haven't passed it yet. Motion refer all to the mayor. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Do that.
Excuse me, folks.
Got it, okay. Sorry for that.
So all in favor of referring back to the mayor's office signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. Councilor DeFlorio.
If we could please suspend the rules, take items 26.
Motion second, take item number 26 from the agenda. Clerk will read item 26.
Item number 26, an order sponsored by Counsel John F. Handler as president to transfer and appropriate $130,000 from budgetary fund balance into the Mount Washington Street wall account. This is for additional work needed beyond the scope of the bid that was currently received.
Councilor?
We do have Mr. O'Rourke in the audience, if we'd like to invite him up, if anybody has any questions.
Motion made and
But
seconded
as
by
far as I
Mr.
know, I believe this, does this have to go to committee?
This is unfinished
No.
business.
It's unfinished business.
All in favor of inviting Mr. O'Rourke up, signify by saying yes.
Oh, I'm
All
sorry.
opposed, so moved. Mr. O'Rourke, would you please come forward?
I believe we've already asked all the questions on this. I would just say favorable recommend.
Counselor DeFleur, Counselor?
Good evening, councilors.
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
I said if any other
Thank you,
councilors had any questions, we could invite them up. But I believe that Mr. O'Rourke has answered all the questions on the Smart Washington,
Well, it still has to come before us.
so, but, thank you.
Counselor Capone?
Thank you, Mr. President. I think it was laid on the table by me on last meeting. I had some unresolved questions, and I got answers. If you feel like addressing those, fine, but otherwise, I'm satisfied, and I thank you for the information. So I just wanted to point that out. I got my answers, so I have no questions. Thank you.
Counselor Simonelli?
So, thank you, Mr. President. Councilor Simonelli would like to just know how much money was spent in the past on temporary repairs at this site.
That's a good question. I can't recall. I'm new here to the city. I came into this project in August, and I was not familiar if the city had spent any money on repairs to this wall. We have owned this wall for a number of decades, since I imagine the construction of the roadway, and I do believe it has been repaired in the past, but I have no idea the cost. I have no idea the dates when we did spend money last.
Great. And just as a comment, he'd like to say that it's about time, finally give the people some relief and fix it once and for all the right way. And he does believe it's money well spent, and that he's looking forward to a favorable action.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just a point of information, we started spending money on this project starting in 1926. It's been going on since 1926. So, any further discussion? Yes, Councilor McLaughlin.
Mr. Chairman, on the motion, thank you. Again, Mr. O'Rourke, what happened, so we had a Ways and Means Committee hearing since the last time we met on this piece, right? We appropriated another $1 million towards capital improvement at the Ways and Means hearing. Because the free cash was certified, we had to take 20% of free cash, put it into capital improvement. So it's an additional $1 million that we've put into capital improvement. The fact that we have a bid that we're going to add additional money to, can we look at possibly adding more money than the $130,000 to be able to do more of a repair or a better repair to this wall, so that in the years down the road, we're not coming again before the city council asking for this same type of appropriation? I know we spoke last time about the adding additional money to an already existing bid. That's where I'm kind of going with my question.
Counselor, this design was placed together 2 years ago, and the wall has deteriorated in the past 2 years, more so than when the design was put together. As part of this request of additional monies, I am expecting to put more money into this wall repair, approximately $50,000 as I've budgeted. Regarding a better wall repair, I don't think it's necessary. I think we're going to be providing a sufficient wall repair that should last us 25 to 35 years, I would estimate. And that's going to be dependent on our DPW and their salt spreading methods. This wall deteriorates, or any concrete wall deteriorates, as a result of salt being thrown on it. I'm interested in somehow curtailing the amount of salt we throw over the sidewalk which hits this wall. So I'm tossing around the ideas with city officials. Can we erect a temporary wind fencing at the curb line? Would that be sufficient for keeping the salt in the roadway? And then maybe we get out there with some lawn spreaders and we place some calcium chloride along the sidewalk, which will prevent salt from hitting this wall. We can toss ideas around like that to see if they make sense. But spending additional money on this wall, I don't think makes sense.
You told us last week, 2 weeks ago, excuse me, that it's a $10 to $15 million repair for the whole entire project. If we were to do the whole wall, $10 to $15 million.
No. What I said was $10 to $15 million a few weeks back was the Market Street culvert. that is an entirely separate project. I never provided a dollar estimate for full reconstruction of this wallway, other than to say that I believe it's into the millions. I don't know. I haven't done a full quantity takeoff on it, and I am not a structural engineer.
Okay, I stand, I apologize then. That's fine. I have other additional questions, but I'll talk to Mr. O'Rourke about them later on down the road. Thank you, Mr. President.
No, Council DeFlorio?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. O'Rourke, I understand that the salt and the conditions of the weather that we have in New England, it's hot, cold, walls, cement, it breaks, on the expansion. But we also have to maintain this wall. So every year, when spring comes, now the wall, I don't know if it's all cemented or is it like blocks with joints? We have to fill in those joints with cement. You can't leave them open, because once you leave them open, the water and the ice gets underneath and everything breaks. So just because you build a wall, or just because you build stairs, it doesn't mean that it doesn't get maintained. You still have to maintain it every year. So my thinking is, it's great to spend the money, and I understand you're gonna come for more money, because $130,000 isn't gonna do the work that we want done. But we also have to understand that it does need to be maintained after the season is over. Once winter's over, if there's any holes that have to be filled, those have to be filled before it becomes more of a problem. So that's my recommendation.
Very
Thank you.
good.
I'm sure you know that better than me.
Councilor DePiero?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. O'Rourke, I apologize. Have you considered, I know you're new to the city, and the design phase was probably done before you were employed by the city, but the concrete and the mortar, it seems that, even if it is 25, 30 years, it would deteriorate again. Has there ever been any thought into a block wall, those big 2x3 block walls you see as retaining walls throughout different places?
My experience with block walls is you have to terrace those, step them back an inch or two or so for every block that you install. Those blocks can be 2 feet, 3 feet wide or so, so you're looking at a huge impact on neighboring property. Certainly, we would not want to impact the width of the travel lanes or the sidewalk. The existing wall is 8 inches to 12 inches. Those blocks are significantly more, requiring terracing, which would require a much larger footprint. I don't believe that is a practical solution for this location.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse with a custom.
No, Councilor Napolitano?
Thank you. Mr. O'Rourke, thank you for appearing before us. To what Councilman DeFlorio was alluding to, what do you estimate would be the annual cost to maintain the wall once the repairs have been maintained, have occurred to an acceptable level? And what type of maintenance would be required?
The maintenance, I would suggest, would just involve the snow fencing or wind fencing, perhaps in the gutter location, if not on the top of the curb, where we wouldn't be disturbing travel in the travel lane. Wind fencing can be purchased for $40 per 50 or 100 feet. We might be looking at spending $1,000 maybe every 5 years. If we keep the salt off this wall should last for a long period of time. I don't expect spalling. I don't expect us to get out there annually and mortar cracks. That shouldn't be necessary in a cast-in-place wall.
And approximately amount of man-hours per year do you estimate would take to maintain? Would you be able to?
Installing snow fencing and so on, given that the Traffic Advisory Committee agrees to such an idea, it might be 2 men a day to install, and then maybe 2 more men a day to take down and store for the summertime.
All right, thank you.
Councilor Simonelli?
Thanks, Mr. President. Councilor Simonelli would just like to know, he didn't have a chance to look at the specs, but he was wondering if the specs call for any epoxy coating on the rebar, and also if there's any additives in the concrete itself, or is it just ready mix?
reinforcement, 3,200. Epoxy coated steel reinforcement, ASTM, so on and so forth, yes.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, on the motion of favorable action, it was moved and seconded. Clerk will call the roll. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. Mr.
Counsel Capone.
Second gone.
Counsel Della Sola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel DePiero.
Yes.
Counsel Mangan.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky.
Yes.
Counsel McKinnon.
Yes.
Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes,
11 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
you've passed the order. Clerk will read item number 18.
Item number 18, to grant the petition for a special license to hold a function at Edward G. Conley Center on March, that should be 17, 2016. Proceeds from this fundraiser will benefit the Everett Music Programs.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, favorable action. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
That's in
Well,
order.
Answer the roll.
Counsel Capone.
Yes.
Counsel Della Sola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel DePiero.
Yes.
Counsel Mangan.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky.
Yes.
Counsel McKinnon.
Yes.
Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes,
11 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
you've passed the order. Item 19.
Item number 19 is a petition for a second-class motor dealer license for Regal Auto Sales at 1800 Revere Beach Parkway. All paperwork is in order.
Favorable action on the,
Motion
Second.
made- Motion made and seconded, favorable action by many of you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
aye.
All opposed? Petition has passed.
Order.
Order, what's this in order? I'm sorry. Answer the roll.
Counsel Capone. Counsel Del Sola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel DePiero.
Yes.
Counsel Mangan.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky.
Yes.
Counsel McKinnon.
Yes.
Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes,
11 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
you have passed the order, granted the petition. Clerk will read item 20.
Item number 20 is
Mr.
an order
Chairman,
sponsored by-
can we take I beg your pardon, excuse me. Could we please take item 18 back for reconsideration?
Second the motion.
Motion made and seconded for reconsideration on item number 18.
Counsel Capone.
Dates
Counsel
are
Del
wrong.
Sola.
No.
The
Counsel
question about the
DeFlorio.
dates.
No.
He said it was the 17th.
Counsel
We just
DePiero.
approved it for the 16th.
Nope.
The order has to be amended.
Counsel Mangan.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky.
Yes.
Counsel
Why do we vote
McKinnon.
no?
Yes.
Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Mr. President, could I be recorded as yes?
Made to, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, they want to change the date. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yeas, 3 nays.
Thank you. I apologize to my colleagues for asking reconsideration without giving you a good reason at first, but if I understand correctly, because we moved kind of quickly through this piece, is the date the 16th or is the date the 17th?
The 16th is the day I'll be 62 with 33 years.
All
No,
right.
it's the 17th.
It's the 17th. So the thing is that we just approved this license for a one-day license on the 16th.
Right. So you
Okay,
wanna
so
amend
what
it.
I would like to do is I'd like to make a motion that we amend this to March 17th.
Is that the date of the? Okay. Motion made and seconded to amend it to read item, to read 17, March 17 instead of March 16th. On the motion, Councilor Mangan.
Thank you, Mr. President. The only thing, I mean, like I said, I'm in favor of this, but who is actually, who's hosting this? It just says the Everett Music, who's the Everett?
Friendly Sons.
It's the Friendly
Superintendent
Sons
of
in
schools.
conjunction with the Everett
Okay, 'cause it
Cultural
doesn't,
Council.
all right, so that it doesn't state that, I didn't know, like I said, I just didn't know. I just wanted to make sure, so the public knows. Because it just says Everett Music Programs, that's all.
And you know what, it's not very clear here. I agree with the council. It's not to hold a function, it's for a liquor license.
Right.
Yes, that's.
For beer and wine for the 17th at the Edward G. Conley Center. Just so you know exactly what.
Are we,
the-
I mean, does this have to go in, I know it's a special license permit, but do
It
we
then
have to
goes
specifically
before-
say liquor, a one-day liquor license on this?
Just grant it. I mean, that's all you have to do. You can put it in
And then
committee
it
if you
goes to
want,
the
but just
licensing.
grant it, huh?
If I may, then it needs to be approved by the licensing commission.
Yeah.
Okay, but it doesn't have to say,
The actual
Liquor?
order says, let me grab the actual order.
You know, the petition is to have an alcohol beverage license for the event.
right, I just know, Mr. President, when we do this for like the library and different things, when they have the different things there, I thought it said like wine tasting and things like that. I just want to make sure that it doesn't have to come back in front of us, that's all. I
Right.
just want to make sure that we have it in order.
Amend it. Amend
It's
it.
to grant a petition for a special liquor
All right.
license permit to hold by the Cultural Council in conjunction with the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick at the Edward G. Conley Center on March 17, 2016.
Okay, Mr. President, then I will make the amendment that for a special liquor license permit.
And-
And also along with Council Napolitano's March 17th.
Motion made and seconded to amend this to a special liquor license and also for the amendment to change March 16th to March 17th. Any further discussion? Councilor McLaughlin, did you have a question?
You do.
I also apologize, I didn't actually realize the piece that we were voting on, and I appreciate Council Napolitano bringing it back before us. What happens if we vote tonight favorably on this and the Liquor Commission votes no to grant the one-day license on this permit?
Well, I think they have the final say.
You have the final say.
They have the final say.
So should we hold this over until the
No.
Liquor Commission votes on
Has
it?
to pass here. Yeah, yeah.
So we approve it and send it to them?
Yes.
And it does not come back before us?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Motion made and seconded for favorable action as amended twice. All in favor? Answer the roll.
Council Capone.
Yes.
Council Delasola.
Yes.
Council DeFlorio.
Yes.
Council DePiero.
Yes.
Council Mangan.
Yes.
Council Matusky.
Yes.
Council McKinnon.
Yes.
Council McLaughlin.
Yes.
Council Napolitano.
Yes.
Council Simonelli.
Yes.
Council Hanlon.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
You've passed the order as amended. Clerk will read item 20.
Item number 20, Mr. President, is an order sponsored by Councilor John Handler as president, petition for third-class motor dealer license for Polarized New England, DBA Second Street, iron and metal, 285 Second Street.
Favorable action on the order.
Second?
Motion made second for favorable action. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Clerk will call the roll.
Council Capone. Yes. Council Delasola.
Yes.
Council DeFlorio.
Yes.
Council DePiero.
Yes.
Council Mangan.
Yes.
Council Matusky.
Yes.
Council McKinnon.
Yes.
Council McLaughlin.
Yes.
Council Napolitano.
Yes.
Council Simonelli.
Yes.
Council Hanlon.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
11, so is that count? 11 to 0? 11 to 0?
Yep.
You have passed a petition for the license for New England Polarized. Clerk will read item 21.
Item number 11 is the Committee on Community and Business Development report and petition for a set-class motor dealer license from La Revere Family LLC, DBA ENC Foreign Auto, 31 Rear Garden Street, with a recommendation for favorable action.
Second committee report, place,
Second report.
place on file.
Favorable action on the order.
And favorable action on the order.
Motion made and seconded for favorable action. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Clerk will call the roll. Oh, this is a committee report. How about accepting the committee report? Motion made and seconded to accept the committee report. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have accepted the committee report. On the motion, it's on the license itself.
Favorable action, second.
Motion made and seconded for favorable action on the license. This roll call?
Yes.
Yes, roll call, please.
Council Capone. Yes. Council Del Solo.
Yes.
Council DeFlorio.
Yes.
Council DePiero.
Yes.
Council Mangan.
Yes.
Council Matusky.
Yes.
Council McKinnon.
Yes.
Council McLaughlin.
Yes.
Council Napolitano.
Yes.
Council Simonelli.
Yes.
Council Hanlon.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
You passed the order for the license. Clerk will read item 22.
Item number 22, a Committee on Ways and Means report on an order that the sum of $1,038,988 be transferred and appropriated from budgetary fund balance into the Capital Improvement Stabilization Fund. Appropriation is following the parameters set forth in the city's financial reserve policies with a recommendation for favorable action.
Accept the committee report and place on file and favorable action on the order.
Motion made and second for favorable action to accept the committee report. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, so moved. Motion for favorable action and seconded for the transfer and appropriation. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Council Capone. Yes. Council Del Solo.
Yes.
Council DeFlorio.
Yes.
Council DePiero.
Yes.
Council Mangan.
Yes.
Council Matusky.
Yes.
Council McKinnon.
Yes.
Council McLaughlin.
Yes.
Council Napolitano.
Yes.
Council Simonelli.
Yes.
Council Hanlon.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
You've passed the order. Clerk will read item number 23.
Item number 23 is a Ways and Means report on an order that the sum of $779,241 be transferred and appropriated from budgetary fund balance into the stabilization funds. Appropriations following the parameters set forth under the city's financial reserve policies with a recommendation for favorable action.
Committee report placed on file, favorable action on the order.
Motion made and second for favorable action to receive the committee report. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion made and second for favorable action on the order. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Clerk will call the roll.
Counsel Capone. Yes. Counsel Del Sola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel DePiero.
Yes.
Counsel Mangan.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky.
Yes.
Counsel McKinnon.
Yes.
Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
11 yeas, 0 nays. You have passed the order. Clerk will read item 24.
Item number 24, Mr. President, is a Committee on Ways and Means report on an order that the sum of $779,241 be transferred and appropriated from budgetary fund balance into the other post-employment benefits liability trust fund, otherwise known as OPEB trust fund account. This appropriation is following the parameters set forth under the city's financial reserve policies with a recommendation for favorable action.
Accept the committee report placed on file, favorable action on the order.
Second motion.
Motion made and second for favorable action to accept the committee report. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion made for favorable action on the order. Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Clerk will call the roll.
Counsel Capone. Yes. Counsel Della Sola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel DePiero.
Yes.
Counsel Mangan.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky.
Yes.
Counsel McKinnon.
Yes.
Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
You have passed the order. Clerk will read item number 25.
Item number 25, Mr. President, is a committee of the whole report that city services, as city engineer, provide information regarding flooding concerns on Carter Street behind Park Plaza and the culvert area on Spring Street. Additionally, is requested that all other known areas of frequent flooding throughout the city be identified and that the information as to what steps have been taken or will be taken to address these issues be provided.
Motion made and second to accept the committee report and to refer back to sponsor. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So referred. Item will read, clerk will read item number, we did 26, item 27.
Item number 27 is a resolution sponsored by Council Rosa DeFlorio. The Community Development explore possible funding sources to conduct a capital improvement project to revitalize the storefront building facades and streetscape in the commercial area of Norwood Street to make it pedestrian-friendly and report back their finding.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilor DeRosa. The
what,
floor is-
we've been trying to do for years is to grow the city, and we want to do Everett Square, which is great, but Norwood Street is also a business district, and my thinking is, we're never gonna get anywhere if we don't start building parking garages and making plans. When you build a house, if you go out and you spend $1 million to build your house, you build it with a plan. We seem not to have plans for the city. We just, I would like to see a study done. I'd like to see Norwood Street be pedestrian-friendly, widen the sidewalks, give the opportunities to the storefronts to put tables outside, and make it just, instead of having it come to 3 lanes, make it just 1 lane. But I also would like to see parking garages. So I want to send this to community development to see what they can do for the funding to have a plan done so that we can get this moving along with Everett Square, like Council Napolitano had said last week. So my thinking is that right now, I want to send it to community development to explore the possibility of the funding, have them get back to us in 1 month, and then after that, if there's any funding, I'm thinking of putting a committee together, if we could put a committee together on everybody have an input on what we really want for the square area and Norwood Street. The apartments on the top is great, but like I said, if we don't start thinking parking garages, we're not gonna get nothing in Everett. Nobody's coming to Everett, nobody's building apartments without parking garages. So, my recommendation is to send this to the, community development with an answer back in, 1 month.
Any further discussion? Okay, a motion made and second to refer this to the community development. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So moved. Clerk will read item 28.
Item 28, the resolution sponsored by Councilor John Leo McKinnon that someone from Planning and Development come To Government Operations, Public Safety, and Public Service Committee meeting to explain why there are individuals taking pictures of properties in and around the village on a number of streets.
Councilor McKinnon.
Yeah, I got a couple of complaints down there. They didn't know why they were taking them, but I'd like to put this in the government operations and public safety and invite someone from planning, if there is something going on down there, we should know about it, so that we can actually inform the public that's down there. And then maybe someone from the mayor's office to come down as well. Thank you.
Motion referred to.
Mr. President,
Councilor Matusky?
on the piece, about 2 weeks ago, there was a young man knocking on doors, asking people from the Board of Assessors office, but he wasn't taking any pictures, but he did have a badge, and I did call the Board of Assessors. One of my elderly neighbors was a little concerned and, what the procedure was, but what is it, every 7 years that we have to go through the reassessment part of this? Well, that's what I was told. I think, is it every 7 years? Okay, well, anyway, there is somebody going around from the Board of Assessors, a company, but if I don't know if they're taking pictures of property, business property,
They
homes
do,
down
they
the
do when
village.
they go around for evaluating the homes, they do.
Right,
yes.
well, that's the experience I had. I just wanted to let Councilman McKinnon know that's what experience I had recently.
Okay, Councilor McKinnon?
I want to thank the councilman for that information. Maybe we could have the Board of Assessors there as well. But from what I was understanding from the concerned citizens down there, that there was a number of people that were on different streets taking pictures of the properties, and they didn't know who they were. And I would like to actually bring that forward at government operations.
Okay, thank you. Councilor McLaughlin?
Mr. President, thank you. On the motion, I was going to actually ask if we could have the Board of Assessors appear before us. On a Friday, about maybe 3 weeks ago, I got 2 phone calls from 2 residents in the Ward 6 neighborhood of Tremont Street, both concerned that there was an individual walking around taking measurements of properties and wasn't showing proper ID. And I called the police station and I spoke with the officer in charge, asked her if she knew that there was somebody out doing this sort of work, and they were unaware of it. I, on Monday morning, called and spoke with Ms. Davis, who took my call immediately and notified me that there was somebody actually in the neighborhood working on doing this type of work for the city of Everett, for the Board of Assessors. But they didn't show proper ID, and the residents were concerned that these people were on their property knocking on doors. Actually, one of the residents allowed the person into their home without proper ID, and I advised them not to ever do that again. Word of mouth, you can say you're from the city, but if you don't show proof of ID, you should never allow somebody into your home. So I'd like to have the Board of Assessors before us, too, to understand what the protocol is when these individuals, I know it's a private company, they're hired by the city to go out and do this work. I'd like to know what their protocols are when they're hired by the city to do this type of work. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Motion is to refer this to the Department of Planning and Development and also to the Board of Assessors for them to,
And
I'm
invite
sorry,
them.
what did I say? Government Operations, and for them to appear at the committee meeting when it's called. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? You have so referred and you have so invited. Clerk will read item 29.
Item 29 is a resolution sponsored by Council Stephen Simonelli to incorporate reverse 911 for its original intent to inform the people of Everett of the real issues like emergencies that come up unexpectedly, any kind of crime, violence, house break-ins, severe weather conditions, street blocked off due to shootings, fires, water breaks, need a detour route for the whole city, not just certain areas. It is not the intent to be used for social, corporate, or political gains. Refer to the mayor and chief of police with a request for response back in 2 weeks.
Councilman Simonelli?
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilor Simonelli would just like to make a comment. 911, again, has to be used with the right intent. We would like the mayor and the chief of police to put something in writing and start as soon as possible. The people of Everett deserve to know what's going on in a timely fashion, and they deserve the truth, no matter good or bad. And reverse 911 can help with that, and it is a way to answer questions. Motion is to refer to the mayor's office and chief of police with a response back to the council in 2 weeks.
Which you can't do.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Motion is to refer this to the mayor and the chief of police for their recommendation, or their reasons for the provisions of how they conduct their business for this particular item. Correct, okay. All in favor? So for referred. Clerk will read item 30.
Item number 30 is a resolution sponsored by Council Anthony DePiero that is honor the mayor and the Everett City Council declare February 24, 2016 as Lives of Opportunity Day in the city of Everett. We encourage the residents of the city to recognize this occasion, joining celebrating this event with our friends and neighbors. There is a proclamation attached, whereas the city of Everett is home to a vibrant and involved Haitian community, and whereas the Haitian Community Center is the first and only volunteer social welfare, social justice, faith-based human rights, civil rights, and anti-poverty Haitian-American organization situated in Massachusetts, and whereas their commitment to the youth, aged, widowed, and orphaned immigrants of all faiths in the Everett area is a worthy endeavor and a much-needed service in our community. And whereas February 24, 2016 will mark the grand opening of the Everett Haitian Community Center, and whereas it will simultaneously seek to pave the way to ladders of opportunity by inaugurating the center's Everett Works Training, Education, and Workforce Development Program. Therefore, as honor the mayor and the Everett City Council hereby declare February 24, 2016 as Ladders of Opportunity Day in the city of Everett, and encourage the residents of the city to recognize this occasion and join in celebrating this event with our friends and neighbors.
Councilor DePiero.
Thank you, Mr. President. This organization does a lot of good work in the community. They get individuals very involved in civics and other events throughout the community. They do a lot of good work with workforce training and so on. And I encourage all my colleagues, if they can, to attend their ribbon cutting ceremony Thursday, I believe, 2 o'clock. I might be wrong on the time, but I have the email I can check. And yeah, I hope you can all make it.
Okay.
Actually, the location is right on Broadway. I believe it's upstairs from the Messenger Insurance Building.
You want to refer this to his mayor, the mayor also?
Yes.
So he can sign
Favorable
it? Okay.
action.
Motion made and second to refer this on to the mayor for his consideration on this item. Any further discussion on this motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You have passed the resolution. Item 31.
Item number 31 is the city council worksheet. We have one item sponsored, Council Stevenson Melly, to start digging up tree stumps on all city streets, set up a small crew of men. We have the help. And a new machine that does the work. Maybe on a regular basis, start replacing with new trees. Refer to the Public Works Director for a response back in 2 weeks.
Okay. We don't need to vote on that, do we?
Yeah. On the worksheet, yeah. One vote.
Okay, motion?
No,
No,
gotta vote.
motion for favorable action on this? Motion made and seconded. Councilor McLaughlin?
No. All those in favor?
Are we allowed to speak on worksheet items or no?
No.
That's all that's on there.
No
Okay.
worksheet.
Anything else?
All those.
Okay, on this here, motion, all those in favor of this?
Aye.
All opposed, so move. Okay, on
Adjourn.
motion second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
You have so adjourned.